New York City, 1929. The city breathes in shadows, flickering streetlights, cold winter air, and the scent of betrayal. It was a night that nearly erased the name Lucky Luciano from history. A night of treachery, blood, and a life hanging by the thinnest thread imaginable. During Prohibition, organized crime was booming. Bootlegging, gambling, prostitution, money was flowing like rivers. Charlie Luciano was already an essential figure in New York's underworld, respected but also envied. In a world driven by greed and power, enemies lurked everywhere, sometimes disguised as trusted friends. That night, Luciano was invited to what seemed like a routine business meeting. He had no idea he was walking into a trap. On his way to the meeting, Luciano was ambushed. A group of armed men forced him into a car, blindfolded him, and drove him to an unknown location. He was dragged into a dark, abandoned building. Then the beating began. They punched, kicked, slashed his face, stabbed him repeatedly, 17 knife wounds in total, leaving him bloodied, broken, and barely breathing. When they were done, they dumped what they thought was his lifeless body by the side of a road on Staten Island. Luciano lay motionless, his body mangled beyond recognition. Cold wind cut through his torn clothes. Blood pooled on the frozen ground. But somewhere, somehow, something inside him refused to die. With shattered ribs and slashed skin, Luciano dragged himself, inch by inch, toward distant lights. Against every odd, against death itself, he survived. They called it luck. He called it will. In the hospital, barely clinging to life, Charlie Luciano was no longer the same man. The beating didn't just scar his face. It changed his soul. He realized that loyalty meant nothing in this world. That survival wasn't about honor. It was about power. From that moment on, the world would know him not as Charlie, but as Lucky Luciano, the man who survived the impossible and would never let anyone hold power over him again. That brutal night wasn't the end. It was the beginning. The scars became symbols of survival. Lucky Luciano rose from the ashes to build the Commission, the governing body of organized crime that redefined the Mafia forever. He didn't just live, he conquered. In the underworld, many die for a wrong move. But Lucky Luciano didn't die. He came back sharper, colder, and unstoppable. The man who survived 17 knife wounds wasn't just lucky, he was reborn. And this was only the beginning.